United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, Article 162, Powers and Functions, 1. The Council is the executive organ of the authority. The Council shall have the power to establish, in conformity with this convention and the general policies established by the Assembly, the specific policies to be pursued by the authority on any question or matter within the competence of the authority. 2. In addition, the Council shall a. Supervise and coordinate the implementation of the provisions of this part on all questions and matters within the competence of the authority, and invite the attention of the Assembly to cases of non-compliance. b. Propose to the Assembly a list of candidates for the election of the Secretary-General. c. Recommend to the Assembly candidates for the election of the members of the Governing Board of the Enterprise and the Director-General of the Enterprise. d. Establish, as appropriate, and with due regard to economy and efficiency, such subsidiary organs as it finds necessary for the exercise of its functions in accordance with this part. In the composition of subsidiary organs, emphasis shall be placed on the need for members qualified and competent in relevant technical matters dealt with by those organs, provided that due account shall be taken of the principle of equitable geographical distribution and of special interests. Adopt its rules of procedure, including the method of selecting its president. f. Enter into agreements with the United Nations or other international organizations on behalf of the authority and within its competence, subject to approval by the Assembly. g. Consider the reports of the enterprise and transmit them to the Assembly with its recommendations. h. Present to the Assembly annual reports and such special reports as the Assembly may request. I. Issue directives to the enterprise in accordance with Article 170. j. Approve plans of work in accordance with Annex 3, Article 6. The Council shall act upon each plan of work within 60 days of its submission by the Legal and Technical Commission at a session of the Council in accordance with the following procedures. I. If the Commission recommends the approval of a plan of work, it shall be deemed to have been approved by the Council if no member of the Council submits in writing to the President within 14 days a specific objection alleging non-compliance with the requirements of Annex 3, Article 6. If there is an objection, the conciliation procedure set forth in Article 161, Paragraph 8e, shall apply. If, at the end of the conciliation procedure, the objection is still maintained, the plan of work shall be deemed to have been approved by the Council unless the Council disapproves it by consensus among its members, excluding any state, or states making the application, or sponsoring the applicant. 2. If the Commission recommends the disapproval of a plan of work, or does not make a recommendation, the Council may approve the plan of work by a 3/4 majority of the members present and voting, provided that such majority includes a majority of the members participating in the session. k. Approve plans of work submitted by the enterprise in accordance with Annex 4, Article 12, applying, mutatis mutandis, the procedures set forth in subparagraph j.l. Exercise control over activities in the area in accordance with Article 153, Paragraph 4 and the rules, regulations and procedures of the authority. Take, upon the recommendation of the Economic Planning Commission, necessary and appropriate measures in accordance with Article 150, subparagraph h, to provide protection from the adverse economic effects specified therein, and make recommendations to the Assembly, on the basis of advice from the Economic Planning Commission, for a system of compensation, or other measures of economic adjustment assistance, as provided in Article 151, Paragraph 10. I. Recommend to the Assembly rules, regulations and procedures on the equitable sharing of financial and other economic benefits derived from activities in the area and the payments and contributions made pursuant to Article 82, taking into particular consideration the interests, and needs of the developing states and peoples who have not attained full independence or other self-governing status. 2. Adopt and apply provisionally, pending approval by the Assembly, the rules, regulations, and procedures of the authority, and any amendments thereto, taking into account the recommendations of the Legal and Technical Commission or other subordinate organ concerned. These rules, regulations and procedures shall relate to prospecting, exploration, and exploitation in the area, and the financial management and internal administration of the authority. Priority shall be given to the adoption of rules, regulations and procedures for the exploration for and exploitation of polymetallic nodules. Rules, regulations and procedures for the exploration for and exploitation of any resource other than polymetallic nodules shall be adopted within 3 years from the date of a request to the authority by any of its members to adopt such rules, regulations and procedures in respect of such resource. All rules, regulations and procedures shall remain in effect on a provisional basis until approved by the Assembly or until amended by the Council in the light of any views expressed by the Assembly. P. Review the collection of all payments to be made by or to the authority in connection with operations pursuant to this part. Q. Make the selection from among applicants for production authorizations pursuant to Annex 3, Article 7, where such selection is required by that provision. R. Submit the proposed annual budget of the authority to the Assembly for its approval. S. Make recommendations to the Assembly concerning policies on any question or matter within the competence of the authority. T. Make recommendations to the Assembly concerning suspension of the exercise of the rights and privileges of membership pursuant to Article 185. U. Institute proceedings on behalf of the authority before the Seabed Disputes Chamber in cases of non-compliance. V. Notify the Assembly upon a decision by the Seabed Disputes Chamber in proceedings instituted under subparagraph U, and make any recommendations which it may find appropriate with respect to measures to be taken. W. Issue emergency orders, which may include orders for the suspension or adjustment of operations to prevent serious harm to the marine environment arising out of activities in the area. X. Disapprove areas for exploitation by contractors or the enterprise in cases where substantial evidence indicates the risk of serious harm to the marine environment. Y. Establish a subsidiary organ for the elaboration of draft financial rules, regulations and procedures relating to I. Financial management in accordance with Articles 171 to 175, and 2. Financial arrangements in accordance with Annex 3, Article 13, and Article 17, Paragraph 1, C, Z. Establish appropriate mechanisms for directing and supervising a staff of inspectors, who shall inspect activities in the area to determine whether this part, the rules, regulations and procedures of the authority, and the terms and conditions of any contract with the authority are being complied with.